When you're building a PC and you're trying to save some money, the first thing to go is probably an SSD. But as operating systems get more and more demanding and boot times are getting longer, this small cut seems to get in the way quite often. Well, what if I told you that you could get the luxury of fast boot times and a quicker, more responsive computer, all for 20 bucks? Okay, so 9 months ago, we made a video comparing hard drives and SSDs, and if you want a longer explanation, the card in the upper right hand corner will take you to that video. But if you want a quick recap, the basic comparison between the two is HDDs have moving parts and SSDs don't. And this difference is what allows SSDs to attain much faster speeds and also has the unfortunate downside of making them more expensive. Really, it's the price of something that most of us see at first, and even if it makes our PC faster, it's usually been worth just forgoing the SSD in favor of a much cheaper hard drive. Well, in the past year, SSD prices have come down quite a bit, and almost to the point where they're affordable to the budget PC enthusiast. Whether it be 120 or even 480GB, budget SSDs are able to hold all of an operating system, which is really somewhat new in the budget space. Nowhere is this more true than with TimeTec's revamped line of SSDs, which they graciously provided for us to test. So let's check this out. So right off the bat, the packaging of these SSDs is really appealing. It's very minimalistic, and I really like how the box is white for some reason. So after opening this up, you're immediately greeted by the SSD in a static-proof bag, and if you take it out of the box, you'll find an installation guide that's also included. Looking at the SSD itself, it really doesn't look like much. On the end, it's got a SATA 3 and SATA power port, which you'll need to connect when installing it. Other than that, the SSD doesn't really have much going on besides the TimeTec sticker on the front, and it doesn't really look like it will improve much in terms of performance. But once you install it and get your OS on it, the improvements are almost immediately noticeable. With 470 megabytes per second read and 400 megabytes per second write, the specs may not seem too terribly impressive when comparing to other brands, but after using these SSDs for a few days, I can assure you that these drives are more than enough for everyday usage. The first thing that becomes apparent is when you do a cold boot of your system, and man do these things help. When I boot off my main HDD, it takes me just under 3 minutes to go from the power button to being logged in and ready to go, and this is what I've gotten used to over the past 2 years. But after booting from an SSD, not gonna lie, I don't really think I can go back. After I copied over my files and changed my boot drive, it took me about 30 seconds to go from power on to logged in, which is a 600% improvement over my hard drive. On top of this, after installing the SSD, I noticed that the programs I had installed on the drive started up quicker and they were generally more usable, which I wasn't really expecting. And this is where SSDs get their luxury status. Not only do they drastically improve boot times and system snappiness, they're also more expensive than the traditional hard drive. And while yeah, adding a solid state drive will cost a little more, TimeTec offers 120GB SSDs for 20 bucks, which is more than enough to hold Windows 10 and a couple of general purpose programs. So SSDs are nice and all, but what's the real value with them? Well, if you've got an older PC or your parents are complaining that the old family PC is getting a little slow, then adding a small capacity SSD to boot from is a good way to improve performance and make daily tasks like browsing Facebook and watching YouTube videos snappier and more responsive. Or if you're rocking a budget gaming PC, adding an SSD to store your OS is another cheap way to squeeze a little more performance from your system. Basically, if you've got a PC and you want it to be a little faster, then an SSD is a great way to get more usability from your system. Now, do you need one to get an excellent experience? Well, to be honest, not really. But if you've got an extra $20, then adding a 120GB SSD to your system is a cheap way to get more from your system. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you'll be notified about all our future uploads. And also, happy holidays! I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, and a Happy New Year. And finally, thanks for an amazing first year on the channel. Back with my first video on December 17th, 2017, I seriously didn't expect to gain over 600 subscribers in a year. And thank you for making this year a great first year, and I can't wait to see what year 2 has in store for us. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.